Well, good evening and welcome. We are here now with two political strategists, Bobby Moe with the Democratic Party and Hayes Dent with the Republican strategist, talking about tonight's debate between Cindy Hyde-Smith and Mike Espy. And how important is this debate tonight?
I think it's very important. I mean, the last week and a half or so of this campaign, we've had fireworks to say the least. And I think the amount of ads, I saw somewhere just a couple of days ago that the money pouring into this race now is unbelievable. And so the next week, you're going to see an unbelievable amount of television advertising, radio, internet. So I think tonight's can set the tone for the next 7 days.
We talked about that election night with you, Bobby, that you knew the money would come in because this is the last Senate race, number one, and now it's it's a little closer than we had anticipated.
Yeah, this is it, and I think, as Hayes said, we've seen some money coming in here. I think you're going to continue to see it this last week, especially. There are a lot of people who don't make up their minds until the very, very end. Tonight's debate, I do think it's important. It's a different type of debate. We don't have an audience in presence during this debate. We're gonna see it streaming, or we're gonna see it on TV somewhere, or whatever. But it's important because who's going to have a misstep? And as was said earlier, Senator Smith has had a few missteps during this past week. She's got to recover. I think that we all know what she may be coming after Secretary Espy with, but I think also Espy is going to be ready for that too. So I think it's going to be an interesting night, something that we haven't seen in Mississippi in quite a while, especially in a midterm like this, where we're normally sleeping through the election.
This is a debate like this potentially makes me think of the Mike Tyson quote where he said, everybody's got a plan until somebody pops you in the mouth. And this could happen really with either candidate, because I've seen Senator Hyde-Smith when she was a state senator at the state capitol working over government employees in an appropriation hearing. And so she's tough, and she can be tough. And I know Mike is the same way. So it's kind of the game of chess. Who's going to come out first? Who's going to strike first? How deep are they going to want to make the cut? That kind of thing. And so it could go either way. And when you are trying not to make a mistake in a debate, it could get interesting. And I mean, we talk about the fact that it's controlled environment, and I don't think that's the right way to have a debate. But you look at it from another perspective, and they could really let the fur fly, and there's no crowd to get involved, because a lot of times crowds get involved in a debate, and everybody sort of, the sponsor has to stand up and shut everybody down and that sort of thing. So it could be interesting. I think,
You agree?
Yeah, it could be. I'm sorry, but for those who look at politics as sport, it could be fun. If they get in the right channels, it could actually be fun, and that's okay. Talk about those issues that we've been seeing for the last week or two, but then get down to the issues that I think people really want to hear about in Mississippi, whether it be health care, whether it be taxes, whether it be whatever it is. How do I get good jobs here in Mississippi? Let's hear about that. Let's hear about those kind of things, and to some degree, set aside, these hard partisan positions on those issues, and let's talk about how you do it for Mississippi. I hope we hear that tonight, too.
With all the attention we're getting nationally on this race from outside, how much pressure is that putting on the candidates tonight?
We hadn't even talked about the Trump factor. He's coming into town again next week, and I think that certainly, if you look at the vote, from 2016, I think it helps Senator Hyde-Smith to have the president here. I'm not quite sure if they're completely set on where yet, but he certainly, I think when he went to DeSoto County, he made a difference for her against Chris McDaniel. I think he really made a difference. And so Mike Espy has had, all of the top flight Democrats in town over the last week or so. And so as a Republican, you want to say that draws a pretty good distinction, okay? But Bobby and I were talking off air about this. This is also about turnout. And the people that Mike has brought in are the kind of folks that can help drive turnout to the Democratic base, just like President Trump is going to try to do to the Republican base.
This race coming in after the holidays, what is that going to do you think, to turnout?
It's going to lessen it, I believe, to some degree. Take a look, first of all, at the folks who are going to vote or who have requested to vote, as we call it, a little bit early, but it's our absentee ballots. Well, those weren't ready by statute until this past Saturday. So by the time the clerk mailed those on Saturday or Monday to kids in school, they're sitting in a box somewhere at Ole Miss or Mississippi State or Alcorn, and the kids are home. Are they going to go vote? I don't know, but we've got a lot less people who have asked to vote absentee than we did previously, which historically in Mississippi has sent a signal. We're not going to have as many people turn out as we did last time. But I'll say this, and I agree with Hayes, it's going to be who turns out, who turns their voters out. If the Democrats had not turned out all those additional voters from their base last time, we would have gotten tremendously trounced. And here come the Republicans doing the same thing. We both have data programs that are really, really good. Both sides have been talking to our folks. So I think turnout is still going to be good, just probably not to the level that we saw it during this election some two weeks ago now.
And while, you know, it's another factor about this race that's interesting to me is while we've got some great public universities in Mississippi, we've got this thing going on in Oxford Thursday night called the Egg Bowl. And I bet I've had half a dozen people tell me, look, don't talk to me. I know what you want to talk to me about, Hayes. You know, I'll talk to you about that Friday. We got to win the Egg Bowl, and that's coming from Mississippi State people and Ole Miss people. So
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
so
Take a day
you
off of
put that
politics.
right in the middle of the campaign too. You know, is the Egg Bowl.
No campaigning in Oxford on Thursday.
Right.
Let me just throw this out. If Cindy Hyde-Smith should prevail and win this, how effective can she be in the U.S. Senate with all that's happened in the last couple of weeks?
Well,
Certainly everybody.
Yeah, I may have a difference of opinion on this. I think this issue. I think that there have been two issues that she's kind of, you know, been held to in my opinion, a different standard. But I think the second one on voter suppression was a joke. I think it always was a joke. I think that if you look at the tape, there's clearly what she made a joke, and then she finished her statement by saying, I think it's a great idea. In other words, she thinks that having college kids having better access to voting, I know we've spent the last 2 or 3 months in several of the campaigns I'm involved in, rounding up brigades of mothers to find out who are absentee ballots at State and Ole Miss and Southern and Jackson State and other places. And so I think the second one, I think she's going to be fine. Would be my guess. And the interesting piece about this race too is this race has got to be competed for again in 2020.
Right.
This is just a special election, and so Senator Hyde-Smith will also have to run for re-election in 2 years.
All right. Well, with that, we'll leave it at that, and we'll, of course, have much more on this race after the debate tonight at 10 o'clock. Until then, we'll see you then.